a bunch of us earlier in the day, like mid-morning, that the boys were in Boone and were having trouble getting gas, and she directed them to go out of town to do it, and she was okay.
All right.
So I assumed she was coming.
Okay, we'll start.
Okay.
Yeah. Ready, Bob?
I'm ready. Riley, open the meeting, please.
Welcome to the May 11th meeting for the Beachbound Town Council meeting. Call to order. We have one member, Kelly Malang, is absent at this time. But the rest of us all present. I need a motion to adopt the agenda.
Make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Mr. Mayor.
Mayor, I need an amendment there. Amend the agenda. We have additional information on 6.1, the solid waste.
Okay.
We have two items. We've got the contract, which is in your
Correct.
agenda, and we have an ordinance for a franchise that should go along with it.
6.1?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Actually, Mr. President, if we could put the franchise ordinance under 8.1, because it would be a call for a public hearing at that time.
Okay.
Okay.
Those two changes, Mayor.
Okay. So I need to adopt the amended agenda.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Everybody's got the public comments in front of them. Move on from that. We need to set a public hearing for the 2021-22 budget. That is what, for June 8th?
Yes.
All in favor?
So moved.
I need a
Need a second or?
second.
I'll second it.
All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
All right, so that's set. We got the public hearing for June 8th.
And what time is that, Mayor?
That would be a regular meeting.
Okay.
4 o'clock.
4 o'clock?
It's at the council meeting.
Okay.
Okay, I need a consent agenda for the minutes. I need a motion.
So moved.
I need a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Welcome, Kelly.
Sorry,
It's a
waiting for gas.
waiting, really?
Yeah, Boone's horrible right now.
Unbelievable. Okay, we have the public hearing open the public hearing. I need a motion.
So moved.
All in favor? I need a second, actually.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, the public hearing on the regulation for solid waste ordinance. I have we did receive a lot of emails on that, and I have a compromise that I want to present to the council.
Mayor, if we could open and then close the public hearing and then go to the solid waste ordinance on
You want to close it right
7.1.
away?
Well, you can talk about the public comments, but when we talk about the ordinance, we should close the public hearing.
Okay.
So are the email comments public comments?
Correct.
then?
Yes.
Okay,
Correct.
okay, gotcha.
Well, if I could clarify that, the regulations are very clear that public comments have to be sent to the town clerk by 5 p.m. on Monday.
Okay,
So communications with elected officials that don't go through the town clerk aren't really public comments. They're communications to elected officials. So we've had to reach out to some of the public and remind them that it needs to be addressed to the town clerk by 5 PM on Monday.
Okay,
So there may be some emails that the elected officials receive from the public that we don't have, and they weren't sent in properly as notice. But we've got.
so they're not typically public comments, but they're comments that were sent to
Right,
public
for a public
officials.
comment to be
Okay.
included in the minutes and to be put in the packet, they've got to be received by the clerk by 5 PM on Monday, the Monday preceding the
Gotcha.
council
Okay.
meeting. So I just want to clarify that because we had a lot of emails back and forth and it was hard for the town clerk and I to figure out which ones to put in and which ones weren't.
Okay, so email and text messages then,
And you have this packet
yes,
that has the ones that they,
the ones that were filed. Gotcha.
Yeah. The ones that you have in your packet are the ones that were sent to the clerk eventually correctly, and we included those. Just to
Okay.
clarify,
Yeah, I've already got
because it was
these.
kind of
Okay.
crazy.
all right, so we'll close the public hearing. Need a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Now we'll talk about the Solid Waste Ordinance Revision. That's 7.1.
Yes.
Again, like I was starting to say, we've got a lot of emails, needless to say. And I've come up with a compromise that I feel that will be beneficial to everybody. And I'm going to ask the floor to read the regulation, and then we'll discuss it.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. In addition to what you have in your agenda packet, the proposal for amendment would be to add a section 50.11B1. And that section would be substantially similar to an exemption that exists in the current Code of Ordinances. That section would read, property owners wishing to exempt their property from the requirements of section 50.11B may do so by registering their request with the town manager for exemption no later than August 1st, 2021, on a form prepared by the town, stating the request for exemption, the names and addresses of the property owner, property location, and a statement that the property owner has made alternative arrangements for the collection of solid waste from this location. This exemption shall expire upon either 1, the sale, transfer, or conveyance of the property to another individual, 2 violations of Chapter 50 within a 12-month period, or 3, the property being used for short-term rentals with periods of occupancy by the same tenant of less than 28 consecutive days.
And we want to open a discussion?
So we're looking at making like a grandfather.
Correct. We're going to grandfather everybody in that doesn't want any kind of bin, any kind of trash bin. They can either opt out, and this way here, they can continue to bring their garbage to the convenience center. We got a lot of people that said they didn't want trash bins in front of their house, and this gives them an alternative method.
And if somebody buys it here next summer,
The person that would buy the house would be sold and buy it, then they would have a choice of a bear proof or a wood bin.
So what's the difference between that and what we've struck out in the current ordinance?
The original ordinance said everybody had to have a
Well,
wood.
if the property owner does not desire trash pickup, he or she may by the town manager or designee. So I'm just trying to figure out the difference between what we originally had in here
As far as
and
that-
what we're putting in. Because I don't know if we're putting in more regulation where people need to get sign off on not having trash bins or leaving what we have in here that just basically says if they decide not to do it, not to do it.
Yes, the original language that's being struck through leaves it to the manager's discretion, but it doesn't give any standards for the manager to apply that discretion. Or, in other words, the manager doesn't have any guidance as to do I allow them to not have one or do I require them to have one. This would provide some objective standards and essentially allow anyone prior to August 1st to apply to the manager for the exemption and be granted that, but it also sets forth ways in which that exemption would then expire, with the idea that everyone ultimately would be in compliance with the requirements of the rest of the ordinance.
So are we adding more paperwork, or are we not adding more
We're
paperwork?
not adding more paperwork, we're just giving them the opportunity of declaring that they don't want a bin in front of their house.
So the homeowner would have a choice to opt out, but would have to fill out a form,
And then
have it on file with the town, and would have the choice to have one or not have one, and that would remain in place so they could use the convenience center until such time that that property was sold. When that property was sold, then the new homeowner, whoever that would be, at that point in time, would have to have some kind of bear-proof bin, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
And to Mr. Carty's point, anyone desiring to be exempt would have to apply prior to August 1st as the amendment is written.
Okay.
Anyone applying after August 1st would not be eligible.
Just so you know, the amendment, the opt-out is not something new. We have how many names now? I think,
Well, there's 76 on the list, but over the past 15 years, the problem is many of those no longer reside here. The current system was impossible to manage. There was no criteria, and there was no end to it. So the town does not really know at this point who has a bin and who doesn't.
So,
And by adding this, this would actually give the town written documentation of who in fact does not want to have their trash picked up.
It was always required in the ordinance.
Right.
Many residents just simply chose to do away with their bin, and the town was never properly notified,
Okay.
regardless of the issue about the town manager doesn't have any criteria.
Right.
So this builds in a system to bring the organizational piece back in line, and it's not detrimental to any of the current owners who don't wish to have a bin, and anyone else between now and August 1st that they wish not to have a bin.
And that includes the sales of new properties between now and August 1st? Saying this.
If a new property owner came in before August 1st and completed the form, they would be grandfathered.
Okay, I want to make sure.
I think that I applaud your suggestion for trying to find a happy median and a compromise, but I think also that this is just a short-term Band-Aid. And what I mean by that is that currently, and I think Chief mentioned it, that we don't have a manageable system. We have three trash systems here on Beach Mountain. We have what we're proposing with the potential requiring the VRBOs to have their own trash receptacles. We have the homeowners that have their trash receptacles, and then we have the recycling center. So we've got three systems here on Beach Mountain. And one of the emails that I read that I think council was all privy to was that some folks got rid of their bins because they didn't want other people putting trash in their bins. Well, what about those that do have bins and people put trash in their bins? And, it's not fair to them. And again, I think that, and I get it. I asked Chief for a form when I came in today because I'm not compliant.
neither am I.
I'm not.
And, I got rid of my bin probably 15 years ago. I didn't know that we couldn't. I thought back a few years ago that it was encouraged that if you wanted to get rid of your bin, get rid of your bin and use the recycling center. Again, I think this, and I get it. I mean, I don't mind taking the trash to the recycling center. But I think that whether it's our council or future council, that we're somewhat kicking the can down the road by not mandating that all folks have trash receptacles. And what I mean by that is that when you have the expense of the trucks that come down your road, if everything here passes, and they come down my road twice a week, I'm going to have second guesses about taking trash to the recycling center. When I see that, and I realize that it's going to cost $1,000 to get a bear resistant bin, but when that trash truck comes down, my street twice a week, I'm going to second guess taking trash to the recycling center. I know some people probably enjoy doing it, but looking at it from an expense, Chief, how much does it cost to, how much does it cost, guesstimate, to operate the recycling center?
Annually,
Yes, sir.
$300,000.
$300,000? That's a lot of money.
It may be a little more or less, but it's, your labor costs, equipment, it's about $300,000 a year.
And again, Barry or Mayor, I think what you said for now is a compromise, but I also think it's a Band-Aid. So what if 2 years down the road, a year down the road, that another council looked at the recycling center about making an adjustment there and saying that if we're going to require the VRBOs to have cans, then if we would, and I'm not proposing, I'm just talking out loud, I'm not proposing shutting down the recycling center. I want to be clear. I'm just looking at it from a cost standpoint. If you already got the trash, if you already have the trash trucks that's going down, if they're going down my road and you pass 3 VRBO homes, you already have that expense there. That expense is a fixed cost, so they have to go to a few more homes. It's a fixed cost. And spending $300,000 on the recycling center, that's a big number. But I'm in favor of a compromise for now, but I think that whether it's this council or another council, the recycling center and the cost and the expenditures of operating it is going to come back up.
Well, again, I don't necessarily disagree with you, but there is no easy solution. I mean, we got 25 or 30 emails from people complaining that they haven't had a bit, since like you for 15 years, or other people for 20 years, and they don't want a bin in front of their house. And we're going to say, you must get a bin? I mean, I don't think we have a rope short enough for us to get hung on.
I
don't dispute that.
And I'm just thinking out loud that our convenience center is not going to be overtaxed once we move commercial out and start dealing with
Residential.
the residential twice a week. And a lot of people are they're gonna jump on that once they start seeing that that's what's happening. The bin part of it, some still have them, some still don't. The bear-proof bin is expensive, but I don't think that we're gonna end up with the employee problem once we start moving commercial.
What are we going to do when folks that have bins start putting trash in
Well,
other people's receptacles?
well, I mean,
That's always been a problem.
that's something that you can control. I mean, what I do, what I did, I don't do it anymore because I got rid of mine. I put a lock on it, and nobody can use it. When I put garbage in it, on the day of the pickup, I put the garbage in it, I take the lock off, they use it, after they're gone, I lock it.
What do you do when you go out of town
And I don't have any garbage, I don't have to worry about it, and I lock it.
Well, you're probably an exception to the rule. Like I said earlier, that when someone mentioned that they took their bins away because people were putting trash in it, I think it's unfair to those that have bins that people put trash in it. Again, I think what you suggested is a compromise. My statements were just for
No, I
food
understand.
for thought,
Yeah.
I understand.
because
I
it's
think
going to
that-
come back
I think
up.
for the town, we need to
I wish
either
there was
do
I wish there was a solution.
a yes or no on it.
Maybe a long time ago, if we'd done like all the other cities, this is the way it is, and that's all, when you move to Beach Mountain, that's the way it is. But unfortunately, we've moved around so much with it that there is no, and then some of the other questions have been brought up, or I've heard, is we don't want to, you know, the public doesn't want us managing them. So we're gonna mandate that you need a bin. You gotta go and spend $1,000 today, otherwise we're not coming. And so, I don't think we wanna go down that road. So that's why I came up with compromise. Is it 100% perfect? No. Is there a 100% solution?
So the compromise is if they want to have a bin, it has to be bear resistant,
Correct.
By August 1st.
and that's it, by August 1st. And if they choose not to have a bin, then
They can fill out the opt-out.
they can go ahead,
No, that's not correct, Councilwoman.
okay,
Not the
help me
bin.
out
If
there.
you are not a short-term rental, this ordinance that has been proposed, majority for short-term rentals have bear-proof bins.
But not really.
Yes.
If you are not
Not
a
that
rent,
part.
if you are
Not
not a
residents.
rental,
Correct.
you may have a wooden bin that meets the standard or a metal bin that meets the standard,
Okay,
or you can opt out. Those are your choices of a non-rental property.
oh, so this is, we're talking non-rental, not residents. Because
I think that's a great compromise.
50.11 says
But I
all
agree with Ryan.
residents have to have
I
a
think
bin.
eventually, it'll come around again.
There's
It won't be our council, it will be another council.
And there's probably, and I'm guessing, this is just a general statement, that there's probably not a town in the United States that you can tell them that you don't want a trash bin. I mean,
I agree, 100%.
and,
But
You know-
you started off that way. It's a
Okay,
little, it's a little different. If you move into Johnson City today, you can't go to the town hall and say, let me sign an out. I don't want you to pick up my garbage.
Correct.
They're gonna look at you and laugh and say, okay, come back next month. But we started the other way around. You know what I'm saying? So we've got this out there, and so we're just trying to manage it and bring it in a little closer to reality.
so do we need to take a vote on this?
Yes, sir.
Okay? Are
So
y'all,
why
you
are
guys
we
ready?
taking out that part about the town manager in the ordinance?
Still there.
No, it's
He
been
just
crossed
he
out.
just read it for you.
It's in
We're
red.
replacing it with the amendment that the mayor is proposing,
The August 1st one.
that lengthy paragraph that the town attorney read.
Okay.
And basically, and I'll paraphrase, that allows a homeowner who is not a rental to opt out of a bin by
Okay.
filling out a piece of paper that the town will provide before August 1st. And then it will be perpetual until one of those three things happen. They sell the property, it becomes a rental, or they're in violation of the ordinance 2 times in a period of time. So what I believe the mayor is getting to, and over time, the no bin will go away. Because the property will sell, it has to have a bin. The property will be a rental, it has to have a bin. The property violates the ordinance, it has to have a bin. As long as you live here and you opt out, you're grandfathered in, for lack of a better term.
And there would be a record of it, wouldn't there?
And more importantly, the town will be able to know who has a bin, who's supposed to have a bin, and who isn't.
I have a question underneath the residential vacation rentals. That includes Airbnb, VRBO, any online rental agency. Does it also include property managers on the mountain?
Their properties
Their
that they
properties
manage?
that they're
Yes,
managing, okay.
yes. Any less than 28 days, I believe it is, in a single-family rental. It wouldn't apply to hotels, motels, those type of things.
Yes, sir. And then on page 31, limited collection of the homeowner construction debris may be available to the town. Is that pickup or drop off?
That's drop-off. Councilman, that was added to account for the change we made administratively for the last Sunday of the month.
Okay, cool.
Right, so the current ordinance didn't provide for that.
Mhm.
We tried it, it worked, you liked it, so we
Yes.
made that change in the ordinance
Want to make sure?
That's the last Sunday of every month?
of every month. That's what that sentence allows the town to do.
And assuming we're going to continue that when we open up the new facility, right?
Yes, oh yeah.
Those are all the questions I have.
Anybody else have any other questions? Kelly, you're still reading, you all right?
Good.
I'm good.
Okay, I need a motion.
Make a motion?
Second?
All in favor?
Mr. Mayor, to clarify, is that the motion to adopt the proposed ordinance with the amendment as presented?
Correct.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
And that amendment will be up on the website
Correct.
shortly? Okay, cool.
Yeah, we didn't put it up now until we discussed it.
Okay,
Then we will. It'll become part of the ordinance
okay.
as soon as we're finished. You have that up, what, by Monday or something? 3-4 days?
I can incorporate the amendment into the ordinance and we can sign it tomorrow, but it's not correct right now, yeah.
Because I believe a lot of people will be
Yeah.
reading that.
Yeah,
Correct.
no problem. Okay, new business, solid waste franchise agreement. Anybody have any discussion on that? Any
We got
questions?
a few questions. I just want to clarify.
Sure, go ahead.
We're looking at a 3-year contract. Is my
Yeah.
understanding that correctly?
Councilman, maybe it's changed as we've been going through it, and maybe I could introduce it, and maybe it'll answer some of your
Let's do
questions.
that. Yeah.
So this agreement with Republic Services, we've been working this all week, and because of the legalities, we need to have a hearing today, and then we're going to ask you to call for a public hearing for June 8th. So the final adoption of this franchise and the ordinance that's going to go with it to authorize you to issue a franchise will ultimately be finally approved on June 8th. So you'll have 30 days, and the community will have 30 days between now and the next meeting to go through it, and we can make some minor tweaks. So what we have is a franchise agreement with Republic. It's a 3-year term. That was the lowest we could agree to. If you recall, they had asked for 5 and you had asked for 6 months. So we were able to agree to 3-year with a 90-day cancellation clause. That was another issue you had asked me to look at. How do we get out of it if we don't like it? And there is a 90-day cancellation clause. The town will not handle customer accounts. Republic and the business will be the customer of Republic, and the account will not be managed by the town like it is with Pinnacle today. We're going to do away with that model. They will provide bear resistant 8-yard dumpsters with metal lids and sliding doors, so that they will be as bear resistant as possible. They won't have the plastic lids. They'll provide 2 times per week pickup available. We priced it for once a week, twice a week, and then additional. You as the council will be you will set the rates each year. So Republic will come to you with a rate increase, and then you will hear it, and you will set the rates. You will decide what the rates are.
Why does the council decide what the rates are? I mean, if
Because
Beach Mountain is getting
because
out.
it's being a franchise.
Franchise.
And they have they're the provider. What we don't want them to do is be able to come in and lowball the business and then just tell the business, oh, by the way, it's too hard to come up here in the wintertime, this is the rate. So the rate will be incorporated into the franchise agreement with Republic, and that's between the town, and that will be the same rate that they can charge the customer in the town of Beach Mountain. And you will be the decider of that rate.
Okay.
And they in that agreement, there's a bunch of legal information where they can come and give you CPI information and justify their cost, and you will not unreasonably deny their increase. But this prevents the business from coming in and just charging a customer differently, or jacking the rates without having public comment or hearing and you setting the rate.
So do they, when they adjust rates, or, yeah, when they adjust rates, do they use some type of a CPI?
They do, and it's incorporated, the standards are incorporated into the agreement, which they will bring forward and make their justification. The rates that they have quoted are good for this calendar fiscal year.
Okay, thank you.
So we also asked for a 90-day implementation, and it is in the agreement. So assuming this gets approved, and assuming we start in July, October 1st will be the implementation date. And between July 1st and October 1st, which is a 90-day period, the Republic will provide a direct liaison person to meet here in Town Hall with our businesses. And the town will facilitate that meeting so that that person, not a phone number, but a person, will sign up our businesses over that 90-day period and get them on board with how many dumpsters, bless you, where they want the dumpsters. What we didn't want is what Councilman Cardy experienced, where you just call in the Republic number and never getting a call back. And then come October 1st, no one's picking up your trash. So we negotiated that 90 days. They'll have a live person here. We'll have a number of meetings with our business community to sign them up and get this program started. The dumpsters will be owned by Republic. They have a rental fee on those. There had been discussion about the town purchasing those. We had discussed about that, and we decided not to do that. There will be a question to you outside of the agreement. I just want to bring it up now. Do we want to make any accommodations for our customers who purchase their dumpsters that we're picking up today, and they're going to be obsolete? Some of our businesses own them, and we own the others. Obviously, we're going to pick ours up and scrap them, but you need to start between now and June to determine if you want some accommodations for our businesses that own their dumpsters.
I have a question.
We may just offer to pick them up so they don't incur the cost of transportation and dispose of them, and maybe give them the scrap value back or something. That needs to be discussed, what you want to do during this transition period. I'm sorry.
You answered my question. I mean, my question was going to be is, with the current dumpsters that businesses have now, are there guidelines or restrictions on a standard?
The current dumpsters that we pick up?
The current dumpsters that businesses have on Beach Mountain, was there a standard established by Beach Mountain for this dumpster?
Well, technically, yes. They had to be the open type that would fit on the back of our rear load truck, if that answers the question.
It does.
So the dumpsters that we own, close to October 1st, whenever we transition over each business, we'll pick up that dumpster and we're going to scrap it. So just consider the fact that some of our businesses own their dumpsters. And what if anything, would you like to do? And we also discussed an overflow procedure for holiday weekends. The town handling that, and we've included that in the discussions. I'm not really sure exactly how it's going to work, but we'll accommodate that. We talked about it at our last meeting. So, and basically, there's a lot of legalese in the franchise agreement, and it's been going back and forth between legal, the town attorney, and Republic's attorney, and everything that staff, not the attorney, everything that staff has asked for has been accommodated by Republic. Things that Daniel Davis asked for, and that I asked for, and Steve Smith asked for, those have been accommodated. Now it's into the legal review. The town attorney has made his review. We've sent it to Republic. I've got some positive emails just about 2 hours ago. So we'll have a final contract for you, hopefully the end of this week. I'll get it out to you, and that's what we'll be voting on. You'll be voting on June 8th. The other issue is that we've had to create a franchise ordinance. This is an ordinance that authorizes the town, you, to enter into a franchise with Republic. Our town attorney has put that together. It's in your separate packet. That's been transmitted to Republic, and we're waiting to hear back from that. So that's why you amended your agenda today, so that we call for a public hearing in June for both those items, the franchise ordinance and the franchise agreement with Republic.
That's your second sheet.
And now I'll answer questions.
So payment goes from the town?
No,
Are the
ma'am.
businesses paying? I was trying to read the payment section here.
Payment will go from the customer, which is the business,
Okay.
directly to Republic.
Okay,
And there is language in there about how they have to bill, and they can't bill in advance more than 30 days. There's quite a bit of language in there about that. But the relationship is between the customer, which is the business, and the waste hauler, which is Republic.
gotcha, okay.
On page 46, Bob,
Uh-huh.
I was,
8.4.2.
we'll get there in a second. I was reading some about this
Oh.
insurance.
The suspension at the direction of the town, I'm assuming they're gonna reword all that language because the perception looks like the town is handling it. If the town wishes to suspend or discontinue services to the customer for any reason, just so the community is clear.
Well, no, that section actually is correct. There are occasions where the town would want to suspend or discontinue service to a business. They're defunct, they're gone, and there isn't someone at the business to cancel. So the town has the ability to cancel or suspend an account on a business's behalf. This language forces the town to justify that to Republic and be responsible for that.
Okay,
So that actually is correct.
okay, good. I want to make sure, and then, let's see, on page 51, the routes of collection, is that something where we get a consensus from the businesses on the pickup dates, or is it dictated when they come through Ben or Elk, or how does that work?
Well, what we want to do is sit down with them during the implementation period in the businesses. It won't be different for each business. It'll be the same.
Of course.
So when the Republic truck comes up once or twice a week to pick up, that's what it'll be.
Okay,
As you can see, it's established by the company, but it has town consent. So what we want to do is set that up with our business community. What would be the best day that both the company and the businesses can, I don't want to say agree to, but it'll work for both.
sure, sure. The
But that
next
would be
one,
done, Bob, when their liaison actually comes and meets with the businesses here to discuss each of the businesses' needs, correct?
Yes, ma'am, with the understanding that it won't be different for each business.
Correct.
There'll be a day.
Right.
And that'll be the collection day.
Right.
Monday and Thursday, and those are the 2
Yeah,
days.
whatever's
Right.
decided. And if you would just stay there for a minute on 3.2, hours of collection, we've already made a change there. It says 5 to 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. We've changed that to 7, and they've agreed to that. So they will not be picking up garbage
7 p.m.
before
or
7 a.m.
7 a.m.?
So the 5 a.m. has been changed to 7 a.m. One of the complaints that was perceived from the previous contract was they came too early and it was making noise. So that got changed to 7.
On the holidays, on 3.4, it's stating when they miss a service on 4th of July, Independence Day, or Thanksgiving, Christmas, they're not coming back for the following week. Is there a way we can make that the following business day?
That's been amended.
Just because we don't want to go 10 days without.
It's not. It's the next business day.
The next business
I
day?
believe so.
Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, that would.
Yeah.
Okay. On page 53, the first bullet point, it's talking about twice a week pickups during peak seasons. But what if you want that year round, or if you don't want that year round, that service? How does that work with pricing?
That has been amended. The business will have the ability to adjust that throughout the year with notice to the company. In other words, you can't call on Friday and say, I need another dumpster right now. But I think they wanted a week's notice.
Okay.
But we talked about having periods of time throughout the year that individual businesses could add dumpsters or add pickups. And they could adjust that monthly is what we discussed, and they said they needed a week's notice.
Okay.
And we will clarify that.
Yes, sir.
Anybody
I
else?
don't have it, I don't have it marked, but I read in here that now that this is a franchise agreement, they'll be exclusive to Beach Mountain. But how does that work with like, the construction workers up here?
Well, it's not exclusive, it won't be exclusive. You'll see, if you look at the ordinance that we prepared, it's in your separate packet.
Okay.
It's a franchise, but it doesn't preclude us from having any other waste hauler come up here. And it specifically, if you look at the beginning where the types of waste, your construction dumpsters are not included.
Okay, that's what I was
Yeah.
wondering for, you know, somebody remodeling.
So it's, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Attorney, the ordinance allows the town to bring in additional waste haulers at the same time.
There
Yes,
was
sir, it's exclusive for commercial business arrangements, but the town still has the ability to supplement that in other ways.
Sure.
Such as Mr. Pudney had stated. But as far as businesses, if they wish to have a dumpster, they would have to go through Republic to do it, so that you wouldn't have 3 different trash trucks driving up to Beach Mountain, each of them picking up one dumpster.
Sure.
That's part of the incentive for Republic to enter into the franchise agreement and arguably give you their best rates.
Okay.
You have a question?
If we end up with a business that's not paying, and what we've got set up here, somebody decides not to pay, does that hold the town legal for that, or is that specific to the business?
The town is not liable for that payment or lack of
Okay.
payment. The town would be asked to, let's assume that there's a business, let's make it, easy, it's a restaurant, and they don't want to pay, and Republic pulls the dumpsters and doesn't haul their trash away. The town now has an enforcement issue with the ordinance that you just passed on Chapter 50, because we have a business that has not made suitable arrangements for solid waste disposal.
Okay. And the fines that were set for not clearing around the dumpsters, that's not the town's responsibility, that is the business.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Those fines are assessed against the business.
Yes.
Okay.
It will be Republic that is the one that has to encounter that and deal
Okay.
with that, but those civil penalties are set forth in the franchise ordinance to allow an incentive for Republic to not have to have its drivers get out and clean those.
Okay.
So how would that system work? Are they going to take pictures? Are they going to notify the business? Are they going to notify the town? Or how would that?
I'm not sure how Republic's business model would be, but I assume the driver would do all 3. First document it, then they would have to get out of their truck, address it, assess the fine as the additional penalty against the business, and notify us as well as the business owner as to what they've encountered.
How's that going to change with this, if Republic hasn't come up, if there's a day that in between pickups and a business gets hit with a bear hit or whatever kind of hit, what responsibility does the town have in mandating cleaning the trash up, or a fine? Or because currently, for homeowners, if a bear hits a can, the homeowner gets fined.
Well, that's only if the town cleans it up. There's plenty of bear hits where the homeowner cleans it up, or the neighbor cleans it up, and there's no fine assessed, and we don't know.
Right.
If the town cleans it up, there's a fine assessed. The fines that you see here are similar. If there's a mess at a business and the business cleans it up, there's no fine.
Right.
The town does not have any obligation to go out there and clean it up. But if we do, there's going to be a fine.
So for example, Pinnacle has a maintenance crew. If there was a bear hit, the maintenance crew could go out there and conceivably clean up that mess.
And they do.
Okay.
Sure. But if the town responds and cleans it up, we have a schedule for assessing that cost to clean it up.
In place.
Yes, ma'am.
Any other questions?
With the franchising agreement, does that open up like a can of worms? Can like a Starbucks come up here and open, or Subway, or Ace Hardware, when you talk about franchise agreements not entering?
So this type of franchise is different from the corporate traditional franchise. The way they are similar is this allows an exclusive territory for a certain purpose for Republic in this case to perform a certain act where others cannot compete with them. The general statutes allow various things such as water and utility services, trash. There used to be cable television franchises that they would grant.
Yes, sir.
So it essentially, as a franchise, it gives them a territory in which to operate and allows them to negotiate with the council as to what those rates are going to be.
Yes, sir.
If that answers your question.
No, it does.
Okay, thanks.
That's all. Thank you.
All right, I need a motion to have a public hearing on the franchise agreement for June 8th.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Mayor, would you take a vote to set a public hearing on the franchise ordinance as well, sir?
Okay, I need a motion for the franchise ordinance.
Motion.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right, we have an opening at the planning board
Mayor, if I could get you to go back to 8.2,
to the,
I need a public hearing called for the zoning ordinance.
oh, I missed that one? Oh, it's on top, I'm sorry. Okay. I need a motion for a public hearing on the, public hearing for the gathering of, what is it purpose for?
It's the zoning ordinance amendments to the new state statute 160D.
Okay,
And Mr. Mayor, this would bring our current zoning ordinance into compliance with the new statute. Previously, zoning was governed under separate procedures for cities and counties. The General Assembly, in consultation with the School of Government and other stakeholders, has combined those procedures into a new chapter of 160D, and it requires an update to our ordinance. Substantively, it makes minor changes, but does require an ordinance update.
okay. Any motion for a public hearing on June 8th?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed. Okay, now we have application for the planning board. We have one opening. You guys all have your applications. I need now somebody nominate somebody.
I'd like to nominate John Pendergrass.
Okay, do I have any other?
I'd like to nominate John Pedette. Oh, no, I'm sorry. George Pedette.
Okay, so we got two. I need a consensus.
Mr. Mayor, having two nominations, it would be appropriate to take a vote for those in favor of each of the nominees,
Okay.
and the one with the highest vote tally being 3 or more would carry.
Sounds good to me. Okay, I need a vote on John Pendergrass.
I'm an aye.
2-4. I'm a no.
No, sir.
I'm a no.
Okay, so that's a 2. Okay, vote on George Penedek.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye for me. I would assume you,
I'm a no.
you're a no, Mr. Abernathy?
Can you vote twice? Is that legal?
I didn't hear you. The motion, George Penedek passes on the planning board, 3-2 vote. Need a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Is that good enough?
Mayor, the
That's
clerk will
three.
contact him, and we'll also get him sworn in, and, we'll-
I just, sorry.
I'm-
If Councilman Abernathy did not state the nay, then it would be recorded as an aye, so I just was making sure, did I hear you state an aye or a nay?
For whom?
For the last motion for George?
Well, I didn't say anything, so I guess that's
Yeah,
in,
that's why I'm just clarifying.
I mean, I guess technically that's in favor.
Yeah, it's a favor.
Yep.
So-
In
Okay.
favor? Thank you.
So it'd be
Thank you.
4-1, sorry.
Okay, sorry.
So, Mayor, what we'll do is the clerk will notify him, we'll get him sworn in, we'll also let the town planner and the chairman of the board know of your selection.
Great, thank you. All right, Mr. Bunny, you're up.
I just want to address your attention to the financial report. It's on page 66 of 97. We're at 75% of the year complete. If you look at the revenues, almost every line item is, the important ones, tax revenue is 102.3, miscellaneous income 101.96. If you go down, fees and gains and losses are all well above what was projected. The 9.35% on the bottom line, other sources, that's the money that you appropriated from fund balance for this year. And you can see that of the 100% that you appropriated, so far we've used 9.35%. And I think that's something important, one, you should know about. And I think the public should know that even though you appropriated the fund balance last year, the town is doing very well, and we're not projected to use anywhere near what was projected. And then if you look at the bottom, the total expenditures, we're at 73.15%, so we're below the benchmark. So financially, as we round the final leg here, we're in very good shape. The financial on water and sewer is similarly good, as well as sanitation. So if you don't have any questions on the financial report, I'd like to go into my report. Well, thank you. First thing I want to do is, it's with heavy heart, I want to just take a moment to acknowledge police officers Chris Ward and Logan Fox for the senseless killing, as well as the Lagans in Boone last week. The town was rocked pretty hard with this. Those two gentlemen, one, Chris started his career here in Beach Mountain, and Logan grew up here in Beach Mountain and was a young full-time resident here. The police and fire departments attended the memorials and the services. I made it to all of them. I went to the Fox family and friends last Friday and met with Tim Fox and expressed not only my personal condolences, but on behalf of the town. So I want you to know that the town was well represented there. We had the blue light and red ribbon tribute last night. Many of our town residents, as well as our town business, the Brick Oven, volunteered their time and space to put that together and get the blue lights and the red ribbons out to the community, and the town certainly appreciates everything they did. Our police officers, I think I mentioned this at the birthday party, but they're rough and tough, but they got hit pretty hard. This was people they knew, people they grew up with, people they worked with. And if you get a chance, and if the public gets a chance, just give them a hug and tell them that we appreciate what they do. On the COVID-19 update, I received a number of calls, why aren't we meeting with the public? And the reason is the governor's orders, even though he increased the interior meeting to 100 people, you're still limited by the square foot that you have and the 6-foot social distancing and mask mandate. So this room is able to accommodate 15 people under the current governor's orders, and that's why we do not have the public present. The governor will have another opportunity to change his executive order at the end of this month, or usually a June it's going to be the 28th of this month. And we'll have to wait to see what he does. But as soon as the governor allows us to meet in public, I'll get with the mayor and we'll make that announcement and get that out there. The town's 40th birthday celebration was a great success. It was May 1st down at Buckeye, an all-day event. Personally, I want to thank everyone who worked so hard to put it all together. On behalf of the town, I want to thank Sandy Carr. She was the planner. The TDA really stepped up to the plate there and did, well, they funded it, but did a yeoman's job. Our Parks and Rec department really produced an all-day great event, and I want to, the town wishes to thank the Watauga Honor Guard for coming out the day after we had that tragedy, posting the colors, singing the national anthem, and they just did a great job. And I would be remiss, the chief is watching, not to mention that in the first annual cornhole tournament, the police department beat the fire department. And he's got the ridiculous looking trophy hanging on the wall behind his desk. Oh yeah. Oh, it's a piece of wood with a can of corn on it. So,
That's awesome.
so budget issues. I've got some things you asked me to bring back. We do have a budget meeting, a workshop on the 19th. Would you like me to go through these items today for you?
If we're doing it on the 19th, I don't see a reason why we should now.
Okay, that's good. I'll save those for the 19th. Coffee. Public Works. I believe a CO was issued yesterday from the building department at the Public Works. That begins a 30-day punch list period, and we are working with them to bring the building into substantial completion. They have some exterior things to do, replace the dead plants and things like that. So in about 30 days, we'll go and inspect it and begin the transition process. I think if we're still on track, we'll expect to move in about the second week of June. It'll be a phased-in move-in, no need to rush, get things in place and start transitioning over there. So in the new convenience center, we're going to bring it online in the middle of June after testing and training, and after we hear from you what you want us to do on solid waste at the budget meeting on the 19th. I'm proud to tell you that the project is under budget. We'll bring it in. It's late on time. They've got sufficient number of days that they were credited for weather, but the project is under budget, and we're proud to report that to you. Beach Mountain Parkway repaving by the state DOT. We talked about it last year. It's been on the schedule. Series of excuses. So I reached out to our representative Ray Pickett, who is the vice chair of the Transportation Committee in Raleigh. Have some pull. He has taken that task on. He called the DOT. He's reported back to me on several occasions. The bad news is that they're not scheduled to repave it this summer, and he's working diligently to get that taken care of as soon as possible, but we won't get it repaved this summer. What he did do is he got the DOT to send us out a maintenance crew supervisor who is meeting with our Public Works, and they're going to do some extensive patching, resealing, try to make it a little bit better, put some lipstick on it, and bring that up so we can get service out of it for another year. Next item, I received, and I know you all did too, some comments about the golf cart ordinance. Would you like staff to review that and bring back to council with proposed amendments?
I think I'd like to propose we have a discussion on the June meeting.
You want me to bring back the ordinance with some items to, or do you just want to deal with it at June?
What I'd like to do is have a discussion. You can bring back some of the stuff, and then hold a public hearing and have a vote in July.
I think it'd be good too to check local towns to see what they have. And maybe,
Well, every town is different. If you take a lot of towns have flat roads. And,
True.
And
True.
paved roads.
yeah,
And some towns have special, track for just golf carts,
right.
like they have for bikes. So our situation is a lot different than a lot of towns around us.
We're pretty unique.
So would you like me just to put it on the agenda for discussion, or do you want me to bring the ordinance back with some suggestions, or what would you like me to do with it?
Well, I mean, the only thing we're talking about is rear seat. I mean, that was what came out. And if I remember correctly, we had a committee that was put together. And the ordinance was written with a compromise for what the committee had asked. And we thought for safety, Mr. Abernathy and myself, thought it was for safety purposes. And the recommendation at that time was no passengers in the rear seat for two reasons. One, they're facing the wrong way, obviously, but the second is that 25 miles an hour on curves without any restraint is really dangerous for children. And then you get the other part, you get older kids that are standing on the back part and hanging on the roofs. We got a lot of complaints about that through the year, or a couple of years. So I think we have to have a dialogue. I mean, if you want to bring the ordinance out, I don't have a problem. But I think we have to have a dialogue, and then I'd like to then hold a public hearing to see what the rest of the residents think about it. And rather than we just make an instant decision.
I think too, just, the committee report, because that was most of us
That's
here.
a good idea.
So it'd be
Sure.
nice to read that committee report.
We should have it on record.
I'll provide that. All right, so we're just going to put it on the June agenda as a discussion item.
Correct.
And I'll provide in the backup the committee report. Okay? Next item, fuel situation. As you know, Councilwoman, Governor Cooper declared a state of emergency yesterday in reference to the Colonial Pipeline shutdown and potential fuel shortage. So we reached out to our supplier, and we also did an analysis of what we have. We have 45 days of gasoline on hand here on Beach Mountain. We have 30 days of diesel fuel. We've reached out to our supplier, and they have not, as when I walked in here, hadn't got back to us. But I feel comfortable with, we're not in the dead of winter, we're not plowing streets, we've got sufficient fuel supplies on hand. Mayor, and you may want me to hold off until the 19th. You had asked me to come back with a recommendation on dependent care, medical insurance. Do you want to hold that till the 19th as well? That's a budget item.
Unless somebody wants to talk about it now, but I think it's something we should hold for the 19th.
Is it just information? Is it just information?
Well, you asked me for a recommendation, I prepared that.
I'd like to hear
Yeah,
your
I'd like to hear
recommendation.
before the 19th.
Okay, so what's your recommendation?
As you know, when you discussed the dependent care last meeting, there was some conversation about percentages, and 30% is, or 35% is what you tentatively relied upon. And you asked me to go back and take a look at that on cost and how that went together. So what we did is we looked at the 3-year implementation plan, and I would like to propose that we target a 50%, 50-50 in 3 years. The town pays 50%, the employee pays 50% on dependent care insurance only. And that would be structured over a 3-year plan where this next budget year, there would be 13% would be paid by the employee. The second year would be 17%. And then the third year, we would add it would go to another 20% to get to 50. So what we're looking at, to make it easier to understand, year one would be 20% total for the employee to pay. Year two would be 30% total for the employee to pay, and year three would be the 50%. We would reach 50% in 3 years. There was some discussion about the actual percentage that the employees were paying now, and there was some information that was out there that I believe was incorrect. So for whatever reason, we have three dependent care tiers. We have the spouse, employee and spouse, we have the children, and then we have family. And they were being charged at different rates. No, not, the employee was paying different percentages based on the type of coverage. So that this would do away with that and make them a 20%, a 30%, and then 50% over 3 years. It's a substantial increase to the employee. You should be aware of that. And it is also obviously a substantial savings to the taxpayer. But in 3 years, it would reach 50% as opposed to the 35 that you had talked about. And I've got numbers if you need those.
How much would that, if this goes through with the 50%, with what the town currently pays, versus going to this 50%? Do you have a dollar amount that would, you said it would save the taxpayers some dollars? Do you?
50%. Well, no. It depends on which tier. If you take the most expensive one, which is the family, currently the employee is paying 18% of the cost. And so the taxpayer is paying the remainder. So in 3 years, that would be a 50-50 split. And it's difficult to give you a dollar amount because we don't know from year to year how many employees will choose what tier of dependent care. They could choose spouse, child, or family.
Yep.
So the best way to look at it, I mean, when we do budget, we have open enrollment next month, or this month. That's when the employees get to select what insurance coverage they want for dependent care. So then I know that number for the next fiscal year, but I can't project it for the other 2 years because I don't know how many employees are going to select it. So the impact to the employee is substantial. The savings to the taxpayer is similarly substantial. It's exactly, we're going to reach a 50-50.
Any questions?
Merit pay, bonus pay?
I've got that on here if you want to talk about it.
I think that's
Sure.
important based on the insurance part.
Okay. That's a little bit more in depth, and I'm going to try and do this from a,
I guess, Chief, before you do move on,
Yeah.
with the insurance, this isn't set in stone.
oh, not at all, you decide.
No, but I'm saying year to year, every council can dictate.
Oh, that's true.
So I just want to make sure we're all under the same impression. What we're selling the employees now may not be forever true. So I think it's.
And then based on the committee, what was their final, was it the 50% or were they?
No. No, the committee had asked for 35 to 40%,
Okay,
and the committee had asked that the town not change insurance coverage on a regular, they wanted consistency, and they asked that it be incremental
okay.
and not a one-time year,
Yeah.
one hit like we had talked about last year.
Gotcha, okay,
So in a nutshell, that's the 3 items that the committee asked you to consider.
okay.
Cost of living. Let's see here, how do I want to do this? Employee pay and benefits. We had a discussion last meeting that, quite frankly, I got confused with, and I thought maybe everybody else outside of here got a little confused with, and we talked about COLA and bonuses and things like that. And I recall sharing with you that we wanted to make sure that the net benefit was a positive and not a negative. And that if we were going to take dollars, and I think you settled on the 1 to 3 bonus,
Correct.
that those dollars would be viewed as a benefit to our employees and not a negative. And I guess I didn't articulate that well enough because the bonus is a net negative to the employee. Over time, it is a negative, which means it's a positive to the taxpayer. is similarly to the insurance. So I want to take a moment just to tell you hopefully what you already know. I've been here for 16 months, and in 16 months I can demonstrate, measure productivity in every department. This isn't just verbiage. It's demonstratable. Whether it's in tax collection, which is at over 99%, and last year, if you remember, we made a record, and we're going to exceed that record. If it's in public works, it's all the work that they've been doing, beautifying the town, working on the utility. If it's in the police department, it was managing the influx of visitors that we had this winter and all the issues that they had to deal with. If in finance, take a look at how we're now presenting the financial information to you and how well the town is doing financially. Parks and Rec, we talked about. I can go down in every department and I can give you measurable, quantitative productivity. And to do that, and then go back to the employees and say, we want to reward you for doing your job, but we're going to give you a net negative by calling your merit increase a bonus, is counterproductive. So I wanted to share with you my thoughts, and I can produce more information, more measurable information if you'd like. But you tentatively agreed to a fixed number of dollars last meeting. You said a 2% COLA, sounded okay, and you said a 1 to 3 bonus. And so that has a dollar amount attached to it. If you take payroll and you figure that out, depending on how many bonuses or what percentage, there's a fixed amount. I don't have that amount, but it's a fixed amount. I'm not asking you to approve another dollar. What I'm asking you to do is allow me to implement it in a different way. I really believe the merit increases are a net positive to the employee for 2 substantial reasons. One, it allows us to reward those who do a little bit more. More importantly, for an employee who works in municipal government, every incremental raise, a 1% raise on a person making $15 an hour is like $350 a year. It's not a lot of money, but why it's a benefit is because it compounds for their retirement, their state retirement, their anything that is attached to that credit for that year. And yes, next year when you give a 1% raise on top of that, it compounds on the raise that you gave this year. So from an employee's perspective, it's a benefit when it's a merit and it gets to compound, and that is true, and it makes your payroll costs going forward higher. That is true, but it is a net positive to the employee, and I'm concerned. Well, I'm not concerned. I'll tell you this: that if you think that employees have done a great job, better than 16 months ago in this town, and I believe they have, and I believe the public and the taxpayers see that as well, I think you should reconsider the bonus and go with the merit. If you believe that I'm wrong, I would like you to share with me where we need to improve, because then I have failed, because what I haven't done is put enough attention in those areas where we need to improve, so that you believe that our employees should be I don't want to call it rewarded, it's compensated for what they do. Remember, our employees are here not for the beauty of Beach Mountain. They're here to provide for their family. This is a job, and they're here to provide for their family, and they're willing to do a good job, their job, and they just, personally, I think I would ask you to reconsider that.
I'm all for merit.
Yeah, I don't have a problem. My apologies for swinging on the bonuses side last time. I was under the impression that we were not doing merit raises. So my apologies to the employees and the council.
I'm all for merit because I think that at the very beginning when we all started together on this council, one of our goals was to make sure that we had incentives.
Correct.
And I know you were very, Councilman, Party was, well, that was one of his priorities. And I think that I would be very surprised that we have a taxpayer that would not be able to visibly see the changes and things in the work above and beyond what our employees are doing. So I'm all for it.
You know, this is, as far as I can recall, my hat's off to this council, because when I ran for council, one of the things that I wanted to address is the, how much the town was paying for the dependents. I mean, and I agree with everything that Chief Pudney said, and I'm ready to get to it. But, you know, I think it needs to be a little bit more balanced. It is a premium Cadillac program, and I credit this council for finally, after years and years and years, addressing this issue. This is the first time that I recall that any changes have been made to, correct me if I'm wrong, Chief, any changes have been made to what the employee pay, or what the town pays. So hats off to this council. So I think that we're moving in the right direction with the 50%. I think it's fair to the employee and the town that, you know, we're splitting this up in small increments. And then the merit pay, you know, if with the bonus versus the merit, I mean, I would be looking at, you know, it depends, if you have, the individual has the right mindset when you go to work, then I want my dollars to go towards retirement. And that, you know, that's a, unless, you know, you get a $50,000 bonus or something like that, or whatever, you know, a fat bonus in each quarter. But I know that's not going to happen here. And I think that the merit pay is an incentive to recruit and retain our employees. And as Chief Pudney said, it would be a negative effect if we did bonuses. And I mean, look how great Beach Mountain looks now. I mean, when I came through here this afternoon and I saw a handful of employees that were putting the erosion control on the side of the street, to my knowledge, the years that I've been up here, I've never seen that. There's a lot of things that probably we as council and the town, regardless if you're, I don't care if you're a taxpayer, if you're a voter or you're a taxpayer, to me, we're all the same. And there's been a lot of praise with how great the town looks, and it seems like that it's, you know, and I give Chief Pudney credit. You know, Chief Pudney has finally brought some stability to the town and the employees. And thank you, Chief, for everything you've done, and all the rest of the employees that have made this happen as well. It is teamwork, but I support your recommendation.
Kelly?
I agree. I think our employees are an investment, and making them want to make that drive up to Beach Mountain is important. And once I realized the difference between the merit versus the bonus on the retirement, it made me change my mind, because like I said, we're investing in who we have here, and we want to make sure we keep the best here. So.
For the employees that we have that work at Beach Mountain that don't live on the mountain and they drive in and up to Beach Mountain every day, they're by far the most prideful group of people I've ever seen. They really enjoy being here.
You're not going to see a mass exodus of employees. You're going to see it trickle. And speaking firsthand, I mean, employees right now are non-existent.
Well, I'm in agreement with go to merit, so we're all in favor of it.
Thank you. We'll,
You don't need to vote.
you don't have to, we'll reflect that in the budget update,
He's gonna reflect it in the budget.
and I'll bring it to you on the 19th. Thank you very much, appreciate it. Mayor, I'm done.
Huh? Really?
Wow.
That was pretty short
I'd
and
say the
sweet.
important to last.
That was pretty short and sweet. All right, public comments, council comments? Kelly?
I don't know who sent the thank you card, but I wanted to say thank you for the thank you card. So somebody sent a council person thank you card for the work that we all do, and I know we all
Very
put the
nice.
time in, and I just, whoever it is, just want to say thank you. There's extra blue lights out there for the Back to Blue, so if anybody needs the lights, just let me know, and I can put them in touch. The 40th birthday party was awesome. I mean, 500 pizzas, holy cow. That's a lot of pizza. And I'm really excited we're moving forward with 4th of July. So I think it's great to see the town moving forward, council moving forward, and just moving forward. That's it for me.
Mr. Abernathy?
No comment. I can make, okay, give me a few minutes.
Aaron?
I have a couple of things, I'm just stunned. I listened to
Well,
the councilman,
he's
after
looking at
to
the
see what he
watch.
says. I have to agree with Councilman Mullane. The birthday party was very unique, and for everybody involved, it was a pretty amazing and delightful day. That took a long time to plan. Sandy Carr worked the hours I wouldn't even want to begin to think. But it was absolutely a team effort. The town came together. The rec from recreation to Fred donating all the hamburgers, and from the brick oven with the pizzas. It was just an amazing day. It was delightful to see some of our original town folk turn out for that event. And it was at a time that, even though it was planned, was really needed. That was a very difficult week, and probably the most eloquent speaker was our chief, who stood up and spoke.
But don't mind.
Well, you were good,
Okay.
but you're always
You were
good.
too good looking.
But, you know, it's kind of like a celebrity thing.
Yeah, he was,
But Chief was
he was the
heartfelt,
show.
That's the reason I left early.
and so it really was a coming together of everybody. And that's really the uniqueness of our town. That's what makes us so special. And it was clearly evident on the day. A lot of hard work, a lot of people slept really well that night, I'm sure. But it came at a time that was really needed. I'd also just like to put just a quick addendum in, and thank you to Steve, our financial officer, because I would talk to anybody that's watching, or any of our residents, that the work that he and our employees do to keep all of our numbers balanced, transparent, questions about them, he does an amazing job. And our town has never looked in a very long time as good as a financial situation or that we happen to be in. I also commend the chief for that, because we have so much stability in a positive direction that we're moving. And it takes a village, and we're all doing that. And it's been a long time since we've looked like this, we've moved forward like this, and it doesn't take anybody to see when you're driving on the parkway, or even on the side roads, what's being done, as well as the council. I would, in closing, I'd like to encourage our residents, our full-time residents, our summer residents, folks that own property, that if I would ask them to do anything, if you do watch the meetings or you don't watch the meetings, they're videotaped, you can watch them on video, you can read the minutes, everything is open and transparent. And I'm asking you to take the time, if you have concerns, to personally watch those, listen, read the minutes, because if you don't, it's very easy to misinterpret information that you might hear. through emails or text or conversation, and it comes out as misinformation. And so what happens is, a lot of folks will hear something that may not be all of the information, the correct information, and what happens is, then you start questioning, you have concerns, you call the town, our town manager fields those questions, and will calm some of the waters to give factual information. This is probably the most open council and the most open agenda and addendum that we've had in years. It's all open for you to see. There's no secrets. We go along and do everything. And it's in writing. It's very clear for you to see it. So please take the time. Invest in coming online. If you're working, you can see them on video. You can see what's going on. You can hear what's going on. You can read it in the minutes so that you don't misunderstand something or get upset or concerned when there may not be any concern at all. That's all.
Mr. McCarty?
No, sir.
I want to add something to what
I didn't make
She
any
said.
amendments for your comment.
That's what she.
it just takes. So Aaron mentioned stability with our town, but also and with our town and with the accounting and the finances, but to add to that is the accountability that we have. You know, it seems like in the past that there was no accountability, and now everything is, again, as you said, very transparent. So it's Beech Mountain is definitely progressing and moving in a forward position.
We've done a lot in 2 years. There's been a lot of
Absolutely.
progress and forward moving motion, a lot of discussion, a lot of respect, a lot of work, and a lot of time has been invested. Again, I would go back to the man that sits to my right.
Mhm.
And
There's
everybody
budget
else,
meetings.
and our employees. It's a team effort, but it starts with the leadership.
All right. You done? All done? I'd like to thank Rebecca for her hard work on tax collection.
Oh,
I mean, I don't know if you notice it, but we're only about $30,000 left to collect. I mean, we're at, if you really want to look at it, you're probably 99.9% collected. And a lot of that has to do with her on the phones and collecting. So, if you go by the office, just give her a shout out and say great job. Because even though she collects it all and does, she gets a lot of.
Yeah, I'm sure.
yes.
I mean, somebody calls for $35 and, grinds her to the ground. So, a little thank from us would be great.
Yes, sir.
And really appreciate her hard work. Not that they all don't work hard, but that kind of job is really tough.
That's a difficult job.
Asking for money is always a tough job. Also, with this council, I don't want to hear the expression on the road, from our citizens that we're kicking the can down the road. This council hasn't kicked the can down the road since we've been all together. I mean, we've been so aggressive that sometimes people look at us and are so surprised at what we're doing. So anybody comes to you or you hear a statement, we're kicking the can down the road, please correct them, because we've stopped that.
This is a servant council. The whole paradigm has changed with this council. We're here to serve the taxpayers and the residents of this town.
And I guess it's just a comment, but some of the emails we got, and I don't want to mention their names, but said that we should increase our occupancy tax for TDA so town can get, move it up to 9% so the town can get 3% of that. Well, a lot of people don't read the criteria that the TDA has, number one. And number two, do you actually think that the General Assembly would increase occupancy tax to 9%? I mean, that would have to be statewide, not Beech Mountain. Do you actually think that would happen? No, it'll never happen. So stop throwing it out there. It's misinformation. It's wishful thinking, but it'll never happen. And again, there's a certain criteria that that the TDA can use. Now, Bob has been working close with them and trying to get them to expand a little bit, and we've made some great headways. And they've worked with us, but we're working together as a town to get everything done, just like we said about the party. I mean, they paid all that, which is great. They're paying the bathroom, they're paying the playground,
Sledding hill.
Sledding hill.
they're paying the sledding hill. So they are participating,
Right.
and they are willing to open up their bank account. But to throw out numbers, just, I don't know, for reaction, I mean, we have to be thoughtful in what we're saying. And I think, especially when we're sending out 75 different emails or, to different people, all that does is create misinformation. And this council is being very, just like you said, is being very straightforward and open and clear. We do know what we're doing, and we do have discussions. And if something we hadn't thought of, just like we did with the mayor or the bonus, we corrected it. Just like we're doing with the health insurance. Do we want our employees to pay 80 and 90% of it? And I think we're happy they're paying 50. So we're moving it, and so kicking the can down the road is history.
For all the previous councils that have sat in these seats, it is not an easy seat to sit in, because you're making decisions that inevitably affect the town and its future. And you have to be cautious the way you do it.
Am I keeping
I
up?
think we've done a great job.
Am I keeping up? Okay, I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second. All in favor?
Mr. Mayor?
Oh,
Before you adjourn, I believe the clerk has a
I-
technical correction she wants to address as to the
Okay.
consent agenda.
Yes, and an overabundance of caution, because we took out each item individually, and we never actually made a motion for the tax department order to advertise delinquent ad valorem taxes.
Was
So
that in the
if you
consent
wouldn't mind
agenda?
just to
was that separate?
clarify that, thank you.
Okay. That's 5.3 in your agenda. Order to advertise delinquent on taxes.
Thank you,
I
sir.
need a motion to approve.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Does that satisfy you?
Thank you, sir.
Okay, so let's, I need a motion again to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion, meeting adjourned. Thank you.
Does that not fall under the consent agenda? I mean, if that's the case, then why didn't we do the rest of it?
It was, you pulled them apart and you discussed each separate, but we did not.
Okay, so we missed that
You
part.
can't do the consent agenda as one item. It could have 20 things and just, you vote on it.
Just a technicality, my apologies.
See you later, old man. Oh, I had a great time. It was fun.
Do the same for
Good to see you as well.